Hey viewers, welcome to another game of the Casual Pro Gamer. Once again we are doing a 1 versus 1 in StarCraft 2 between FXOStrelok, whose name I've seen before, and AcerNerchio, whose name I've seen a lot. So it is a Zerg versus Terran, and yeah, that's a completely different matchup from what we've seen so far. So I don't know which map this is, but it looks pretty cool. It has all kinds of lava things going on over here, all kinds of foresty things over here. So it's kind of split in two, well, in the way of well, decoration, I should call it, I guess. And yeah, I think that's pretty nice. Anyhow, we will see the normal things coming up. The only thing is, will the Zerg go for fast expansion, or will he go for the safer build of spawning pool first? Of course, you still want to have a relatively early spawning pool just to get that queen out, and the queen is going to add a lot to your production capabilities as well as your economy in general, because, well, with a queen you can produce more drones, and with more drones you can, well, mine more. So he is indeed going for that fast expansion and then going for the spawning pool. Fast expand, of course, really popular on bigger maps. Also just really popular in general because it gives you, well, it gives you more things to work with, more larvae, more income, and there goes the spawning pool. So immediately going for that. And going to build some additional, well, drones to saturate everything, but it's going to do that after building his spawning pool. So also a fast expansion coming up for the Terran player, who didn't even finish his barracks yet. 2 barracks coming up though. Supply depot, so he's going into the marine and maybe some marauders build, but probably just marines. And probably some medevacs, because of course medevacs are awesome. And yeah, the hatchery is coming up, and it is going to get scouted immediately by the SCV. The SCV that is going to run into the main base, going to see everything that's going on. Also going to see that there are 2 eggs hatching, so he doesn't really have to worry too much about that. Yeah, the Zerglings are probably going to try to chase the SCV. Yeah, there they go. But they're not going to manage to catch up. At least if he actually decides to run away. And he does not. He just decides to just chill there. Now he decides to check this base to see if there was a double expansion going off. And the Zerglings did split up, but they're not going to catch this SCV. So they're just going to capture the watchtower, probably this other one as well, or scout around a little bit. So all not a big deal, of course, but it is very good to keep track of what's going on. So to keep track of yeah, the expansion that your opponent has, but also, well, how many SCVs he has, how his wall in it looks, things like that. So kind of the simple things, but important nonetheless. So factory coming up, going to go into the tanks, maybe Hellions would be good, and he is going to obviously lose one of the Zerglings right there. So yeah, this is the life side, I guess, and it has nice waterfalls, and yeah, I like that. I really like the division of this map in 2. It probably has a story behind it, but I don't know every map, every story there is to know about the maps. So an overlord hanging over here just to scout around, just to see what's going on. And we now have a factory that or with a reactor on it, so Hellions coming out. The tech lab is researching Stimpack, and well, we have a kind of a wall off here with these supply depots, meaning that Zerglings will have to run all the way around this to get into the base, and a Marauder and some Marines should be able to hold off most pushes. Because of that, well, the supply depots, of course, only 400 HP, which is not a whole lot, so a few Banelings would be able to blow that to smithereens. And there is a new hatchery coming up. But yeah, there was this red unit, which was what I was looking at anyway, and then I saw the hatchery. Yeah, the Marine gets taken down, but it means that he does know that the hatchery is coming up. And he is going to, well, take precautions because of that. I mean, he knows now that there is a second expansion for the Zerg player. And that means that he's not really behind yet. It just means that he needs to take care of that. He needs to not get further behind. But he does have quite a lot of these Hellions going. 7 Hellions. There are probably 8 on the map though. Or he lost one, or he produced one before attaching the... No, we saw earlier on that he only had one going. Well, only one of the Hellions was being produced at that moment. So yeah, normally you produce them in pairs. That's why I thought there might be 8. And 7 Hellions and some Marines and Marauders. Actually a lot of Marauders compared to the Marines. And there is nothing wrong with that, of course. But it is strange because both the Zerg units are light, and Marauders don't do very well against light units. They do pretty well against the Banelings, as far as you can do very well against Banelings in the first place. But Banelings are the normal counter to Marines, which means that yeah, if you can do well against the Banelings, then your army will stay alive against the normal counter. But then again, they also do very well against these Roaches. Roaches don't do extra damage to armored units, and Marauders do double damage to armored units. So they will do very well against these Roaches. Of course, at some point it will be a little bit too much for this army, because there are no medevacs yet. Medevacs will be coming out soon, I'm assuming. And as I say that, I don't really see any medevacs coming out. So no starport yet. And that is strange, because normally we see those medevacs as a vital component of this type of an army. Also, the Hellion production normally stops, so normally we see the Hellions being produced only in the early game, and then yeah, not being upgraded, things like that. So they will switch out the Hellions for medevacs, so build starport with this this reactor. Wow, actually has a lot of reactors going. Going for heavy Marines here. And yeah, the heavy Marauders also, yeah, as I said, quite surprising, but surprisingly efficient as well. And he will be going into more Marine heavy numbers because, well, he just built this one and this one and this one. So yeah, those can only produce Marines at this moment, because for all of the other units you need attack lab. And there we go, big attack coming in, and the Roaches are not going to do very well against these units. Yeah, another scan going off just to pick off those creep tumors. Creep tumors are of course something that you don't need to deal with, but it is very useful to deal with it anyway. Because yeah, if you can keep a handle on how far the creep expands for your opponent, you can actually keep them at bay a little bit better. These are burrowed Zerglings, and yeah, that means that he's going to have to waste his scan on that. Yep, there we go. The scan goes down and the bunker gets constructed. Yeah, you saw him think, oh, I did land that, right? And he did indeed land that, but I didn't land because there were units underneath it. So and if you can waste someone's scans by doing these kind of little things. So losing one, in this case he lost 3 Zerglings, but losing 1 Zergling for a scan is definitely worth it, because scans are worth about 300 minerals, and a Zergling of course 25, so that would be good for you. Plus you know that there's a command center coming in, because otherwise people would never expand a scan on that. Of course they can still make like a Raven or build missile turret, but that's also something that you normally wouldn't do. Here, he's going to build that missile turret anyway, and that will just, if he built that prior to landing or to wanting to land his base, it would have not cost him anything. But because he did it like this, so because he landed his base first, it would have delayed the command center by way more, and that costs him some minerals as well. So all of the banelings suiciding into the wrong units, not suiciding into the marines. And the fungal growth does go off here. It does not hit the tanks though, and the tanks need to unsiege. Okay, or not. The infested Terrans apparently not a problem to deal with. And we are getting out of here. So infestors of course really good against armored unit, but also against marines, because marines have very low HP, and this does like 30 damage. Yeah, 40 versus armored. So it's good against armored if the armored units are small, so like the marauders. Because against tanks, yeah, they will only hit like 2 or 3 tanks, where they can hit like 12 marines at the same time. And yeah, that of course would be way better. So against tanks, really not a good solution. Against medevacs on the other hand, they are probably the best solution, the infestors, because they can produce the infested Terrans, they can hold the medevac in place and then spawn some infested Terrans and take that out all on their own. Wow, all of the marines getting sniped there, and he's going to lose this building with the reactor. And yeah, in some trouble now, because there's an attack coming in here as well, and he doesn't really have an army anymore. He's not really producing anything. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, just giving up, because the Zerglings were too much. Yeah, he kind of got out macroed. It's as simple as that. There are 4 bases up, 2 of which still have minerals going. This one also has minerals going, I guess. So 3 of which had minerals going. And yeah, here this one was mined out. There was nothing mining anymore. This one was pretty much mined out. Well, there are still plenty of minerals, but not enough mineral patches, because 2 or 3 of them already disappeared. And so using too many mules on those specific mineral patches. And this one was still mining, but yeah, it's 1 base versus 3. That was fully mining, and yeah, it didn't work out for him. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. GG!